Silas here for the South Metro firefighters. Today's big grass fire in Douglas County is now fully contained. Not a single home was lost, and all 900 people evacuated from the area of Highway 85 and Titan Road this afternoon can now go home. There are 200 black and charred acres down there, and there is still a lot of lingering smoke in the air, so people with breathing issues should avoid outdoor air across most of the metro area. Drip, drip, drip. This time, it is not a leak of Hillary Clinton's secret emails. It is a deluge that poured into the hands of the FBI, prompting the same FBI director who said Clinton was careless but not criminal to alert Congress today that the investigation into Clinton's emails continues with this new batch. Drip, drip, drip. Americans wondering whether they can trust Hillary Clinton are left to wonder what is in that still secret stack of emails now being reviewed by the FBI. Some of Colorado's best political minds will battle it out to change yours in a moment. But we begin with the question asked by a couple of Next viewers today. Can I change my vote if I voted early? CSU political science professor Kyle Saunders says, not this year, maybe someday.
As of right now, we don't have the legal framework, we don't have the technology, we don't have any sort of way for people to change their ballot once it's cast.
Could you honestly envision a situation where American voters would be able to go back and change their minds after voting? That's so radical to think about.
It is, you know, you'd have to bring technology to bear on it. I think you'd have, and obviously a legal framework and the way we think about elections and how that all works. And even then, it would require a generational change, right, in how people think about elections. It's not some comment thread where you go in and rate something, oh, I really like this article, and then change your mind, oh, I really don't like this article, and you click the down arrow instead of the up arrow, and you keep changing your mind, right? It's something hopefully more consequential than that.
If you are still holding on to your mail-in ballot, I have two people that would like to speak to you briefly. Democratic strategist Ted Trimpa and Republican strategist Kelly Maher. Thank you guys for coming in. Here's the deal. I will ask you each a question. If you answer my question, then you can spin after that. Deal? All right, Kelly first. So these emails, we don't know anything about these emails. We don't know if they're Secretary Clinton's emails or if they're somebody close to her. FBI hasn't suggested that there's anything incriminating in there. So why are Republicans making a big deal out of this?
Look, Comey already said that he didn't think there was the basis for her to be prosecuted. And the fact that he is coming back 11 days before an election where she is polling high and is likely to win by most pollsters means that he wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't something serious. In terms of spin, so there is my answer.
You've got 10 seconds to spin.
Potentially.
Yeah, you took too much time answering my question.
Oh, but that's my job, is to answer your actual question, number one. But in terms of spin, you know, she said to the American people, I never sent out anything classified at the time that I sent it out. We know that 110 emails, 52 different threads were done. She lied to the American people. We know she lied.
Speaks to the greater issue. That's why I want to ask you about Ted. So all this points to why so many Americans feel uncomfortable with Hillary Clinton and whether they want to sign up for 4 more years of stories about her and people close to her breaking the law or bending it.
Well, first of all, if you spent, 50 years in the public life and had people dumpster diving in your backyard and hiring private investigators to rip apart everything in your private life to tear apart your character, you'd be a little bit defensive too. And a lot of what the distrust or the creation of distrust about Hillary that's out there is media created. I mean, I think all of this. Oh,
you're not going to blame us for this one. No,
This is
media
Comey,
creation.
This is Comey covering his behind. Think about it. If you're in this particular spot and you have another investigation, that investigation unveils something that may have content that could be relevant to something that you just concluded.
He did have a legal obligation to come forward. That's right. Ted Trimpa, Kelly Maher, thank you much. Hey, we stopped by Denver's election division today, just to make sure they're not rigging the election. They're not. Spoiler alert, neither are the other 3,143 counties in America counting votes. In Denver, there is a team that is counting and organizing, scanning ballots each day. So if there's a problem, there's confusion, then they call in this bipartisan team of 2 people. There's a Republican and a Democrat. They try to decide what the voter intended. Can I read you the saddest tweet that I've seen in ages? Skip Sands wrote last night, so Kyle, if voting ballots are secret, how does the media know who voted? Maybe this election is rigged! Exclamation point. This is clearly our fault because we have not explained this well enough. So we will try it again. We do not know who people voted for. The early ballot returns just tell us how many people from each party turned in ballots. That's it. No liberal media conspiracy, no divulging of secret votes, no rigging. This is a standard process in Colorado that's been going on for a decade. So now, here are today's totally not biased, not a conspiracy to release them early ballot returns. 697,414 Coloradans have voted with a mail-in ballot or an in-person ballot. 38.5% of them are Democrats. 34.6% of them are Republicans. 25% are unaffiliated. How do I say this? Colorado isn't so special anymore, at least not when it comes to getting high legally. This year, 9 states are looking at approving legal marijuana. 5 of those states are considering recreational pot. 60 million people live in those states. They have questions. They're looking to Colorado for answers. Steve Steger figured we could all use to hear this.
Marijuana symposium? Dude, those are 2 words I never thought would go together. But think of it like this, like an FAQ for other cities considering legalizing pot, put on by Denver's marijuana policy team. Here's our frequently asked question. What have you learned over the last few years?
Pesticide use and application is typically something for the federal government and for our state. But here in Denver, we were having pesticide residue remaining on product that was being sold to the consumers.
Ashley Kilroy is in charge of marijuana policy for Denver. She says there have been plenty of lessons, from pesticides to home grow operations. There have been a few problems, but the biggest is a perception issue.
You know, a lot of people really do see and see these shows about the Colorado Green Rush and Colorado pot barons, and I think there's a misperception about the amount of money that's coming into the city.
So many people think pot tax money should be doing more than it does. I can't tell you how many times we've heard from viewers asking where that pot money is. Why isn't it building new roads or new schools? But maybe that ought to be a sign to other states that they really need to communicate about tax revenue a bit more if they're going to try something like this. For Next, I'm Steve Steger.
If other states approve legal marijuana, the policy leaders told Steve, expect Denver to take on a nationally prominent role as an innovator, Silicon Valley of cannabis. An interesting issue was raised by a Next viewer about a recent truth test, one on an ad for Amendment 71, which would make it harder to amend the state constitution. The ad claims that we have the easiest constitution to amend. Politics guy Brandon Ritteman told us that can be true or not, depending on how you look at it. But a viewer named Chris thought of something that we didn't.
One thing our truth test didn't look at is time, the amount of time you have to go out and get signatures to try to put an amendment up for a vote in a different state. And by that measure, Colorado is definitely not the easiest to amend, because 3 states, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, have an unlimited time window. Arkansas, Ohio, and Utah. You can spend as much time as you need going out to gather signatures. In Colorado, you have a maximum of 6 months to go out and get the signatures that you need. There are some states where it's a little bit tougher. Oklahoma has a 90-day period for gathering signatures. Of course, this is only one way of looking at this debate over who's got the easiest constitution to amend. If you want to learn more, go find our original truth test. It's up right now on 9news.com.
That unlimited time in Utah is for statutes. They can only amend the Constitution there through the legislature and a constitutional convention. Next enjoys a tough conversation, and that's this Coloradan's mission.
To educate the American population about the most misunderstood region of the world.
Steve Steger's battle with the bachelor, Ben Higgins, isn't turning out so well for Steve. He could use about $10 million. Maybe this guy will share his.
It does make life a lot easier.
And I don't want to be judgy, but I think that cat's wasted. It's the cat wine again. No, really. Next. We talk here about having important conversations, even if they're uncomfortable. Iman Judah is making those conversations her life's work. She's connecting Coloradans with the Middle East through lectures and classes, but in particular with in-person trips to the region. Today, I met the director of Meet the Middle East.
If I can provide these hands-on experiences where you can actually feel, touch, taste, hear, smell, a lot of these things that make it real for you makes it a little less foreign. They're not so much the other, but you can relate to them a little better.
What do you wish people knew about the Muslim community in Denver and in Colorado?
I wish people would be more apt to pick up the phone and say, I would like to come visit the mosque. I would like Meet the Middle East to come lecture to my organization, to my church, synagogue, temple, group, whatever, about Islam. I really invite people in Denver to come to the mosque, watch a prayer service, take a tour of the mosque. We would be more than happy to do that. And, you know, we welcome those things because a mosque is essentially supposed to be a community center. It's not just for Muslims to be there to pray in.
Judah says she thinks that Colorado has avoided some of the religious and cultural tensions we see elsewhere for two reasons. One, our relatively small Muslim population, and our state's economic prosperity.
Okay, going a bit overboard tonight. Pink bow tie, sweet suspenders. Woo. I need your help. Real Men Wear Pink. Wear Pink ends on Monday. Let's raise some money for breast cancer. You all know that I've been having some fun this month. Parker's mayor tweeted me this photo. This is of Scott Dishong. He's competing in this whole thing too, kicking my butt. He apparently raised some money at the poker table. Ben Higgins kicking my butt too. He's the former bachelor. Of course, it's all a good thing that they're raising all this money. But if you have it in your heart, check my Twitter for a link to donate. I really want to beat the Bachelor.
I really want a picture of you in those suspenders.
Thank you.
A self-described regular guy living with his 77-year-old mother in Lakewood has just won a $9.9 million lotto jackpot. A regular guy with regular plans for spending an altogether unregular amount of money.
My mother wants to go to Alaska, so we're going to plan that. She's provided for me when I couldn't provide for myself, and so I can do things for her that she wants to do, and help other people. You know, I trust God, clean house, and help others, and that's how I hope to continue to live. Well, I currently drive a Camry with about 300,000 miles, and it's you know, it's been a reliable car. I love that car, but it's probably time for that car to go, and I'll probably go to a football game somewhere else. You know, I look at the Broncos schedule and say, I don't think Pittsburgh. I don't know. This is a heck of a retirement plan. That, you know, some people said that's not much of a plan, but you know, if it works, it works. I was thinking of going on eHarmony and posting, I just won the lotto.
Greg, who very smartly is not giving out his full name, says he's going to replace the Camry with a Lexus, but he does plan to keep working. No rain, no snow? What's your problem, October? A line that ran on time, back in time. Sit back, grab a drink, perhaps some cat wine. Next, we'll be right back. "145 years ago, someone in Littleton was probably thinking, oh man, is the A-line late again? I just assume that's what they called the first train to ever reach Littleton. On this day in 1871, William Jackson Palmer built the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad to connect Denver with the city that he had just founded, Colorado Springs. And it happened that Littleton, or Richard Little's farm, was right on the way south, literally putting Littleton on the map.
Well, you know, if you were outside for any point in time this afternoon, you probably smelled that smoke around the Denver metro area with that fire that was burning out there in Douglas County. We are looking at a smoke health advisory. This is actually going to continue overnight into tomorrow morning, so just kind of keep that in mind. And if you can, kind of stay inside. You know what? It was a hot one out there. Yet again, back-to-back days of broken records out at DIA. 82 now going down in the record books. And so far, October has been a warm one. Right now, we're in the running, the 5th warmest October on record. I think we might make it up to the 4th before this month is over with. Now, good news is if you have been waiting for some cooler temperatures, it's all relatively speaking. They're coming. A cold front is on its way tomorrow. That'll knock down our temperatures by just a few degrees, but still we stay above average tonight. Extremely mild, about 51. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies this evening, and then for tomorrow, mid-70s. Not too bad out there. Partly sunny skies. Still going to be warm. A light little breeze. Winds picking up a little bit more so on Sunday into Monday. Halloween looking fantastic. I'll roll out the 9-day for you, and you can finally see some 60s, but still, Kyle, no rain, no snow in sight.
The weather's broken. Thank you, Danielle. All right, admit it. You treat your pets like people? Does your cat have one of those rhinestone collars? Your dog wears the little sweaters? If so, why are your fur babies still drinking tap water? Photojournalist Ann Herbst introduces us to a Denver-based product for the pets who enjoy the finer things.
Gonna make the red batch today.
Full-bodied, all natural, no hangover. This just might be the perfect wine. Emphasis on the purr.
So we make something that we like to call cat wine and dog wine.
Brandon Zavala,
You wanna give me a high five?
is the man behind Apollo Peak Pet Wine.
This is Apollo. He's my cat. He's about 10 years old.
The cat behind the wine is Apollo.
Yeah, he escaped. It was actually on my birthday back in, I believe, 2011.
Apollo came back about 2 years later, just in time to inspire Brandon and become a taste tester.
He used to love the stuff at the beginning, but we actually started making so much of it that he just got used to the smell.
The non-alcoholic wine is made with herbs like mint and catnip, and lots of beets.
Maybe over 10,000. There's been a lot of beets.
People from all over the world are buying Brandon's pet wine.
Ooh, that's gonna be perfect.
Just this month, he sold nearly 15,000 bottles.
It blows my mind every day. I never thought that something that I had fun with and made in my little apartment here in Denver would explode to what it is now.
We have our Pinot Meow.
And the Moscato.
We also have our Cat Bernet.
And the Chardonnay.
We're just constantly brewing the ideas. I said brewing the ideas. Did you get my joke?
Yeah, I got it. And even though Apollo isn't having any of it.
We all have tasted it, but Brandon likes to taste every batch.
Well, it tastes like salty beets, essentially.
Salty, dirty tea.
It's a full-bodied beet drink.
The taste may be hard to describe, but the premise isn't.
If you're having just one glass of wine at the end of the night, you know, why not have a nice glass of wine with your cat or dog, too?
Pet owners may never have to drink alone again. For next, this is Ann Herbst.
Salty Beats, that's Steve Steger's DJ name. Yeah. 2 out of 3 of photojournalist Ann Herbst's pets approved the pet wine. One of the cats just hid under the bed as usual. Her cat Toad got wasted, and we have the video in this article on 9news.com. Don't pretend like you're not going to go watch it right now. We're back with our Friday night tradition next. That's Friday. Time to set aside whatever bugged you this week and look ahead at what makes you smile. It's our Friday night tradition here, a simple question. What's your good news? And yes, we know this isn't the news. You're right. It's life.
You got to get in here. Come on. All right, so we just got engaged. We're actually going to tell everyone while we're here.
Today's a good day. Life is ultimately good.
She calms me down so much. She makes me a more sensitive person. And being responsible for another being really just helped, increase my empathy.
People here are wonderful. The city's beautiful. And getting to experience fall coming from California has been very nice.
But hopefully we're going to be honeymooning in Australia at the end of next year. So we're really, really excited.
Well, I'm a rock and roll dentist and looking forward to recording our last 2 tracks. Going to be in Boulder this weekend with some friends.
No matter whatever ailments or hiccups you might go through, definitely keep that forward motion, that positive motion, which in all retrospect makes everything good.
Good news is that I'm going to be traveling to London for 3 weeks next week. Haven't been there yet, and it's been on my bucket list for a while, so that is my good news.
I'm looking forward to being at a more prosperous level than I am right now. I'm not necessarily saying materialistic things like money, but spiritually, wholesomely.
I'm a teacher now at Galvanize, and I'm looking forward to giving back to the community by developing great students.
A lot of reasons to smile. This made me smile. John Sprague, hey next. This is my first tweet ever. Had to use it to let you know how great this show is. Best news on TV. Thank you, John. That made our day. And Mark Rodriguez writes, my favorite thing about your show is that it makes people mad. Me too. See you next time.